We've got to understand, we've got to be like ballet dancers, not like weightlifters. I said in the back in the 1940s, if you want to be a good runner, you've got to be like a deer, not like a lion. You want to be springy and bouncy. And if you just imagine yourselves as a ballet dancer, how they can spring and bounce around, just imagine if you could apply that to yourself in running, you're going to be a very, very much better runner. And we see it when I go to have these training camps, you get these guys with muscles sticking out all over them. I try to get them to elevate themselves and bounce. They can't. They can do that. They can't elevate their body weight. They can't spring and bounce. There's no ankle flexibility and power. Whereas a little girl who's been a dancer can just like feel like a deer gun over a fence. That's how you've got to be. You've got to be springy and bouncy. And I think Sebastian Coe has shown us this. That's why he's a great runner of the years, because he can bounce and spring around. And, you know, we hear a lot of rubbish. We hear people say, well, you're a certain height, you should take such and such a stride. Well, that's a lot of rubbish too, because I could take two people with exactly the same anthropometric measurement, same height, and I'll have one working on hills and bounding around slopes and so on, get their ankles flexible and strong, so when they drive way out there, and I can have him with a stride that much longer than the other guy who's exactly the same height as him. Then you hear people say, yeah, but they overstride. You know, they get up there and they never seem to come down to the ground. Well, they're not probably overstriding. It's just because they're driving. The only thing is they have leg speed. So all you do is work at leg speed, so get the legs through fast to get down on the ground again. It's an advantage to be able to take a nice long stride. It's not wise to chop your stride. So you get a lot of erroneous information, because one weakness doesn't help another weakness. You're going to have to try and strengthen all these things, understand what you're doing incorrectly, and overcome it. That's what we'll go out there in a few minutes and do. So let's understand we've got to be very strong here to maintain the necessary knee lift throughout the race, right throughout the race, not halfway through it. And we've got to get flexible, powerful ankles, and we've got to learn to drive. And it's when you straighten your leg, you get the power. And so you've got to learn to drive. Now, when I trained the Finns, I made them do lots of hill training. We'll go out there on that slope and do hill training. And I made them do a lot of hill training. And Viren and Vasa, particularly Pekka Vasa, did lots of bounding. Get on a hill about 150 yards, let's say, 150 yards long. He'd bound up that hill, taking long bounding strides, driving hard at that back leg, getting his knee up and pushing up that hill, and forcing the arms forward, and he'd go up that hill. And that paid off, of course. And when he hit the straightaway, and a lot of you have seen that photo of Pekka Vasala coming into the straightaway with Kenyan, Kip Kaino inside him. He's got his back leg is right from his toe right through his head, just like a straight line. He's got his knee right up there, really driving down the straightaway, because he murdered them in the straightaway. He just ran away from the lot and got the gold medal. Now, let's have a look at something else. If you ever seen Lasse Viren, when he came into the straightaway in the 5,000 metres at Montreal, all he did was he looked over, he saw Dick Quacks and Rodney Dixon, the two New Zealanders there on the West German behind him, and all he did was use his ankles. If you see a replay of that, you probably will this year sometime, I'll be replaying something. All he did was use his ankles straight away, because he had terrific ankle flexibility and power. And I taught them about hill springing, hill bounding, and Murray Hallberg, who I trained to win the 5,000 metres in the Rome Olympics, was also the same way. He had terrific ankle flexibility and power. And Hallberg could do this on the centre track, near world record time, and centre tracks are very much slower than these fast tracks. He could kick over the last 400 metres, and often do it in 51 to 53, the last 400 metres, just by flicking his ankle. Now, Hallberg was the guy that had all his shoulder cut down, late tackle rugby football, broke the shoulder, 7 artery, they didn't know the artery was 7, it was leaking around his heart. They had to very quickly cut his, he had a big scar, they cut him open right down here, took 23 ounces of clotted blood from around his heart. That was the kid that I got as a 70-year-old to make training to be an Olympic champion. His arm was useless. He couldn't use it in those days, he can now, but the nerves have sort of grown, but he tucked his arm in there, just ran like that, and he could run a 51 or 53 any time you like in the last 400 metres, a 3-mile run, just by using his ankles. And Viren and Hallberg had exactly the same running actions. They really use their ankles. So let's understand, if we want to see the optimal results we're going to get, we have to develop good speed. We have to have good running technique. We've got to be relaxed and balanced. We've got to really learn to use our ankles. And if we've got weak ankles, we've got to work at it. And, you know, any of these exercises like this, standing on the edge of steps and doing things like this, to get them used to it. And what we do, we call a hill springing. We use our body weight. Like you've got a 90-pound girl, and get her to elevate that 90-pound, there's 90 pound there. You don't need weights on your legs or weights on your arms. You get 90 pound there, coming down on alternate feet, the fork of the foot, and you're getting this reaction. You're also bringing 90 pound onto that white muscle fiber, the quick twitch fiber. And of course it's white because it lacks myoglobin, tires quickly, so isotonic exercise is the best way to develop it. And you're getting 90-pound bang, 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 and develops that white muscle fibre also. But we're getting that ankle flexibility and power, which means all the muscles and sinews in the fronts of the legs and the backs of the legs are getting pulled up and down. It eliminates any possibility of shin splints later on. You're really working, getting all the legs in very, very good condition. And of course the bounding's going to do the other thing. And then we run up steps like this, running up steps like this 2 at a time. You have to put your leg up on a step there and put your weight on it, and you just feel it. You get all the muscles, you start to feel them all working in a balanced way. And we have people in flat areas running up, or in bad winter areas, running up the stairwells of buildings. They'll run up about 10, 11, 12 flights of stairs, 2 at a time, come down the elevator, go up again. But the reason to come down the elevator is when your legs are tired, you could stumble and fall. And just jog around the bottom up that flight of stairs again. And some of you people are probably going to need this. We'll be able to sort it out when we get you running. You've got to make this area strong. It's got to be strong. And if you get strong up here and flexible in the ankles and learn to drive, you're going to run so much faster without being fitter.